Hello and welcome to our wrestling dynamic warm-up video. In this video we will be presenting a dynamic warm-up that is wrestling specific using the RAMP protocol or the Raise, Activate, Mobilize, and Potentiate protocol. This protocol is used to prepare wrestling athletes for their wrestling training or corresponding strength training and weightlifting.
The first phase of RAMP is raise. The goal of raise is to raise blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, and body temperature to prepare an athlete for physical activity and performance. The first activity that we have for raise is a 3 to 5 minute jog. If the room is available, this would be great around a field or a room. This jog should be done at a relatively low intensity just to break a sweat and increase body temperature. An alternative exercise for raise if the room is not available is something like a jump rope. This should also be done at a relatively low intensity for about 1 to 2 minutes. It's important when you're doing a jump rope to make sure that your knees stay as straight as possible and you're focusing on jumping just through the feet. If jump ropes are not available for the athletes, an alternative could be a standing jump rope with no rope. Doing this, it's important to focus on wrist movement and hopping. The second phase of RAMP is activate and mobilize. This section is used to take the required muscle groups for the activity through an active range of motion.
Wrestling requires a lot of upper and lower body movements, so we make sure to cover that in this phase, as well as covering movements across different planes.
The first activity for activate and mobilize is a downward dog to cobra stretch. Wrestling involves a lot of both upper and lower body mobility, and this motion requires both. Five slow and controlled repetitions of this activity should be done before moving on.
Moving on, we're going to get into pop-ups, which challenges the explosiveness of the lower body for wrestling. So starting from a kneeling position, you're going to use the momentum of your arms to explode off the ground and land on your feet. This will be done for 2 sets of 5 with rest in between. If this is too difficult, the modified version has one knee on the ground while still landing in an athletic position. Now we're going to get into some deep forward lunges. The goal of this exercise is to drive the knee past the toe as far as possible to get the optimal stretch for the quads. Try to keep your center of mass as low as possible throughout this exercise. This will be done across 10 meters, forward and going back to the starting position. This imitates the shooting motion that is done in wrestling. Next we have side lunges with Bora performing them here. The goal is to go side to side and change the direction you are facing. Same thing here, we're going to go for 10 meters, and once you are done, jog back to the starting position. Moving on, we have the single leg hand touches. So here we're going to shift our body forward, touching our hands on the ground, using one foot to stabilize, kicking the other foot back. This motion simulates the single leg defense that is done in wrestling. This will be done across 10 meters, going forward and coming back to the starting position. Moving on to the final exercise in the activate and mobilize phase is the crawl and press. This basically challenges the upper body while working on mobilizing the hip joint. This will be started from a push-up position while bringing one leg at a time, the highest you can, to your side. Then you will perform a press while dragging or bringing the other foot back to where your pivot foot is before switching legs. This will be done across 10 meters. Done, jog back to the original position.
The final phase in the ramp protocol is the potentiate phase. The goal of this phase is to use sport-specific activities and movements that increase in intensity throughout each exercise. What sets the potentiate phase apart from the other 2 or 3 in the ramp protocol is the amount of specificity required for this phase, and the importance that sports-specific movements allow for athletes to develop their skills and warm them up for their trainings. The first exercise of the potentiate phase that we have is the cartwheel. This is a pretty difficult dynamic for most people, but pretty common for wrestling. Works on a lot of transferring to upper body strength through lower body momentum. Some form cues that help with this motion would be leaning forward and transferring your weight from your leading foot into your hands, staying as upright as possible when on both hands, and then landing dynamically at the end. Cartwheels should be done with one hand leading one way, jogging back 10 meters, and then leading with the other hand. Next exercise we have is the chimp run. This is executed by getting in a low stance, leading with one foot, and performing a gallop while using your hands in between touching the ground. The chimp run should be done 10 meters with leading with one leg, and then coming back 10 meters leading with the other. The next exercise we have is the sprawl sprint. You start in a 2-point stance, drop into what's called a sprawl in wrestling with your hips laying flat on the floor, accelerating through the 10-meter mark all the way through. For those who are not comfortable completing a sprawl, they can lower down to the sprawl position and then complete the sprint. The sprint distance is 10 meters, and this will be completed 2 times through.
Thank you for watching our dynamic wrestling warm-up, and we look forward to teaching this in class. Thank you.